right now we have Bryan Hulbert on the line to talk about the season opener tomorrow night at Eagle Raceway for the Lucas Oil ASCS. How you doing, Bryan?
Oh, doing all right. Just moseying my way through the state of Kansas at the moment.
Well, it's we were supposed to get the season started in March down at Devil's Bowl Speedway, but Mother Nature didn't allow us to get that done. So here we are in late April, and I know these guys are chomping at the bit to get out there and go racing on the big ASCS tour this year. Are you ready to go?
Oh, most definitely. It's I can't necessarily say I've been going stir crazy this time with wife and a kid. So my time has definitely been a little more occupied than normal.
But now it's back out on the road, and it's going to be busy, really busy now that you get things going. Let's talk about first things first, Eagle Raceway and US 36 Raceway. Similar types racetracks, but I always said these types of the racetracks really built for wing sprint car racing. The short track, high bank tracks, and Eagle Raceway is a great place to open up the season, isn't it?
I mean, if you're going to open up a season in style, Eagle Raceway is definitely a place to go to. It's a track that we have been absent from for several years, and now with Track Enterprises, Inspire Sports and Entertainment, and everything that they're doing with the tour, we're able to go in and be a part of Eagle Raceway again. And same thing with US 36 Raceway. And you're right; those tracks are built for wing sprint car racing. Every time we've ever been to either track, it's just absolutely incredible racing, top to bottom, slide jobs, on the cushion, on the bottom, multiple grooves of racing. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend.
Let's talk about those guys that's going to be chasing the championship this year, and there's some pretty good money on the line for the season championship again for the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series. Sam Hafertepe Jr. coming back, and boy, he has, I wouldn't say dominated every race out there, but he certainly dominated the points chase here the last few years.
Last year Sam had a run for his money. He had Seth coming after him. He had Blake coming after him. He had Wayne coming after him. He wasn't as dominant last year as previous years, but he was consistent, and that is where championships are won. It's not the fact that you won 10 races, but if you have 10 DNFs to go with it, you're not going to get there, and that's where he really got everybody last year, was on consistency. And you talk about the guys that are coming back, Wayne Johnson coming back again with us. Seth Bergman had said he was coming back, but now, might be stepping back a little bit, and looks like he might run the tour, he might not. It just depends on where things are going. And, now with him, with his wife and his little girl and with another kid on the way, certainly understandable. But, I mean, I know this championship is something that Seth has wanted for a long time. So really hoping he can stay out there and can go after the championship. I think he's one that he has the capability, and not only that, he has the support to get it done.
He showed how strong he was last weekend, winning 2 races, the Sooner Region race at Humboldt Speedway on Friday night, and then he backed that up with a race over at Lake Ozark Speedway. So he has really gotten off to a great start. Talk about some of these other guys that they have been racing. These guys haven't been waiting, not doing any racing until tomorrow night. So just kind of talk about how these guys have been doing so far in the events they have participated in.
For the most part, everybody's been doing really solid in everything that they've gone to. It's a lot of testing is what they're doing right now. They're able to kind of experiment with their engine package and their fuel package, their shocks, their setup, their wings. And, of course, with the series, you can run either the dish wing or the flat wing. So I know several drivers have been going back and forth between those and testing the balance of the car and trying to get it better. Because even when you show up at, say, a Sooner Region race, you've still got, 3, 4, 5 national guys there. So it's not like you're going and just beating up on the local drivers, but even then with the regions, those local drivers aren't just going to, get out of the way. They're going to race just as hard as anybody else, and a lot of times they have that home field advantage, and it's going to make the national guys race even harder. But, they've been out, they've been testing, and you've seen that with Blake Hahn, with Matt Covington, who's coming off of a win this past weekend, with Seth Bergman, who's coming off a pair of wins this past weekend, Sam, who's been running a combination of both the 360 and also some World of Outlaws stuff, trying to get his car better. He went and raced Knoxville this past weekend, was fast in the qualifying, fast in the heat. Unfortunately, the main didn't quite go his way. And then you've got guys that are starting to come out on the national tour. We've got 3 drivers that has said they're going to run for the Brodex Rookie of the Year. John Carney II, who already has a pair of national wins to his credit before he ever decided to run the national tour. It's been a long-time dream of his to come out and do this, and he's finally coming out as an owner driver. Tucker Dowdy's another one that's coming out to run, and he's raced a lot around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, has been expanding his racing program the last couple of years. And then you have Jordan Mallet, who is a multi-time USCS champion out of Greenbrier, Arkansas, who is going to take the step up and come out and run the national tour. And all three of those drivers, even though, yeah, they're rookie status on the tour, they have a legitimate shot to win on any given night.
Big story this year is Harley White, and she has already won. And this is not just an ordinary race at I-30 Speedway. She was up against some really stiff competition down there. A huge victory for Harley White.
You know, I know it turned a lot of heads at the end of last year when it was announced that Johnny Herrera was going to, you know, step back from the driving and focus on being the crew chief for Harley White. And immediately, I think everybody realized that was going to be a pretty formidable combination with the knowledge and experience that Johnny has and the talent that Harley has. And you put those two together, and it didn't take them all but about 2 races to start winning. And you talk about who she was going up against. She was going up against 3 former National Tour champions at that race. You had Tim Crawley there. You had Wayne Johnson there. You had Sam Haverty Jr. there. Oh, by the way, you had Matt Covington there, Seth Bergman there, Blake Hahn there. I mean, you know, she was going up basically against a full roster nearly of National Tour drivers, not to mention 3 different regional tours at that event.
Yeah, that very well easily could have been a National Tour event with the field there and, you know, where it was at. Let's talk about the schedule. After these first 2 races coming up this week at Eagle and US 36, you head out to Pennsylvania and Williams Grove Speedway and Sealands Grove Speedway on May 3rd and 4th. This will be the second trip out there. You did that trip last year. Talk about tough competition. That is tough competition out there, isn't
it? It doesn't matter who you are. If you go to Pennsylvania, you better bring your A game and then some, because those boys do not play around. Last year, it was definitely a wake-up call to see just how dominant those drivers are out there. And, you know, and I've always been told for years, and I've seen for years on television and online media where, you know, the guys that race in Pennsylvania don't mess around, and to see it live and to see how they can manipulate those 2 racetracks as well as they do. You know, I think a lot of our guys are going in, you know, now they know what to expect and they know what to bring.
Another place you're going to be going to, this is about the middle of May 17th and 18th, I-96 Speedway in Lake Odessa, Michigan. Another set of drivers that they don't ordinarily see out in that part of the world. Talk about those 2 dates out at Michigan.
Oh, that's going to be a fun race. In fact, we posted the commercial for that event last night, and overnight it reached 16,000 people on Facebook alone. So I think the fans are definitely excited to have the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series coming up to I-96. And, of course, that's co-sanctioned with the Great Lakes Super Sprints, and Barry Marlowe and those guys are helping us all put this together. And, you know, you've got guys up there that race with, you know, Dustin Daggett, Ryan Roll, Phil Gressman, who has National Tour wins to his name as well. So, you know, that's another one. We're not going into a place where they're just going to get out of the way and they're pushovers. They know this track. They know this territory. And, you know, these guys they're coming to settle a score, because the last time we raced up in Michigan, you know, it was a last lap, you know, charge to the win for Johnny Herrera over Sam Haverty, and those guys got whooped a little bit. So I think they're coming back to try to settle a score.
It really gets busy through the summer. It looks like Speed Week, summer sizzling summer Speed Week starts a little bit earlier this year, does it not?
Yeah, it actually got moved up a week, and what that allowed us to do is to actually schedule races on the way out to Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway and, of course, the Brownfield Classic, to where now we're able to go to Brown County Speedway and Black Hills Speedway back-to-back the weekend before going out to Washington, and that makes that trip a lot easier on everybody. Instead of having to come from, you know, Kansas and Missouri and make it out there in a couple of days, now it puts us just that much closer where, you know, a day and a half, you're there.
A couple of trips to Lake Ozark Speedway, going to be there both Memorial and Labor Day weekend. Of course, in the fall, you've got some major events coming up later in the year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lake Ozark Speedway, I can't say enough about what they have done at that facility, and to bring it back from the decrepit state that it was in and just falling apart, and now it is absolutely one of the premier facilities in the country. And to get the chance to go there, not once but twice this year on holiday weekends, and with Memorial Day going there and run for a 5,000 win show, and Labor Day come in there and run for a 10,000 win show. It's going to be a really great event. Of course, right after that, you've got the Hawken McMillan Memorial at Lucas Oil Speedway, and 3 nights of racing at the Diamond and Dirt tracks. If you've never been, you owe it to yourself to go to Lucas Oil Speedway. I talk about how nice Lake Ozark Speedway is now. Lucas Oil Speedway makes NASCAR tracks look run down. It is so nice.
Yeah, and that's the Jesse Hawken Daniel McMillan Memorial coming up in September. Well, first things first, tomorrow night, Eagle Raceway. I know there's been a lot of flooding up in the Nebraska area, but not near Eagle. But I think just Google the map. That can get you there pretty easy. Even though I-29 is closed, there's still pretty easy access up there tomorrow night, right?
I don't know. Driving through Kansas, I'm not calling this easy. Actually, no, it's not too bad. And I didn't realize that I-29 had actually been shut down.
Yeah.
Pretty much at St. Joe, Missouri.
Yeah, north of St. Joe. Yeah, it's a little bit tough, but you can get over to Kansas. What is it, 75 north, and take it into Lincoln and find easy way there.
So if you are coming from the Kansas City area, just jump onto 34, take 75, go north.
That's it. That's very easy.
And what's great is you can chase both these races this weekend, because it's only about 2.5 hours to get from Eagle to US 36 Raceway. Ain't no step for a stepper.
Yeah, both these tracks are fairly close to one another, so it's a good 1-2 stop for fans and racers. Thursday and Friday night, Eagle, and Friday night at US 36. Look forward to seeing you up at Eagle tomorrow night, Brian.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. And, of course, if you need more information on these events, you can find it on our website, ASCSracing.com. Find us on Facebook. Just simply look for the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series, on Twitter at Lucas Oil ASCS, also on Instagram. And, of course, if you can't be there live, you owe it to yourself to get the all-access pass with RacinBoys.com with live coverage of the Lucas Oil American Sprint Car Series.
All right. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow night. Bryan Hulbert joining us from the road on his way to Eagle Raceway. We're back with more on Passing Point. Stay with us.